Well, hello and welcome to this finance chat for Seeing Ministries on personal finance. I'm Mike Malan. I'm the head of finance, facilities, and campus safety ministries here at Woodmen Valley Chapel. As we dive into today's topic, it's going to be one that touches every part of our lives, and that is personal finance. But we're not just talking about budgets and bank accounts. We're talking about biblical stewardship, how we honor God with what He's entrusted to us. As single mothers, you carry so much. And sometimes finances can feel like one more heavy thing to carry. But I want to remind you that God is your provider. He sees your need, sacrifices, and your heart. And so today we'll be exploring some practical tools like college savings, wills and trusts, and even vacation planning. But we'll be doing that through the lens of faith, wisdom, and hope. So let's get started by exploring biblical stewardship, trusting that God will guide every step of this journey we're on today. So what does the Bible say about stewardship? Psalm 24:1 reminds us that the earth is the Lord's and everything in it. Simply, God is the creator and owner of all things, and our role is to be faithful stewards of what He has entrusted to us. Genesis 2:15 tells us that God placed Adam in the Garden of Eden to work it and to take care of it. And Matthew 5:25-21 speaks of the joy of being a faithful steward. Again in Matthew 6:24 and then in Luke 16:10-11, it reminds us that we cannot serve both God and money, and that we must be trustworthy in handling worldly wealth. So here I think that worldly wealth really refers to that material resources that we manage, our monies, our possessions, our time, and opportunities we have to serve. So while these things are temporary, how we handle them reveals our heart posture and our readiness for greater spiritual responsibility. So let us use a tax refund or a child tax credit as an example. These few $1,000s at times can feel like a blessing and a burden at the same time. You could spend it quickly on things that bring short-term relief or joy. And so maybe we should pause and ask, Lord, how would you have me use this? Or what portion should I save, give, or invest in my child's future? As a faithful steward, we might tithe a portion to honor God first, and then set aside some for emergencies, invest in a college savings plan, or use a portion of that for joy, like a small family trip, recognizing that rest and joy are also part of God's provision. This kind of intentionality transforms a temporary financial gain into an eternal investment, not just in dollars, but in trust, obedience, and legacy. So let's look specifically at one of those areas that a faithful steward might do and ask ourselves, do Christians really have to tithe? Let's explore what the Bible has to say about tithing and giving. In the Old Testament, tithing was a command given to the Israelites. They were to give a tenth of what they produced and their livestock to support the Levites and the work of the temple. However, in the New Testament, we need to not be careful to fall into legalism. Luke 11:42 warns us against neglecting justice and the love of God while being meticulous about tithing. In Paul's letter to the Corinthians, he provides us examples of giving that go beyond just that tithe. In 1 Corinthians 16:1-2, it encourages us to set aside a sum of money in keeping with our income to be collected for the needs of the church. So I think what we can say is that our giving should be individual. It should be regular. We should be giving methodically or with purpose, and that we should be giving proportionate. It's not necessarily about the amount, but it's the heart behind the giving. So let's look at a parable and how we may apply that to our giving. We take a look at Mark 14:3-9. This is a parable of a woman who anoints Jesus with very expensive perfume, who gave that generously out of her love and devotion. This woman's story reminds us that God isn't just concerned with what we give, He's deeply invested in how we live. Stewardship is about more than money. It's about our hearts, our priorities, and overall our trust in Him. Whether it's tithing, budgeting, or simply being mindful of how we spend, every financial decision is an opportunity to worship. And remember, God doesn't expect perfection. He just desires faithfulness. So don't be discouraged if you're starting small. God sees your heart. He honors your obedience, and he will multiply what you have placed in his hands. So as we kind of have wrapped up this biblical stewardship section, let's shift our focus over to wills and trusts, exploring some of the differences between the two and how they can be used to manage our assets and provide for our loved ones. So a will specifies how your affairs will be handled and how your assets will be distributed after your death. A trust transfers assets to a trustee who manages the assets according to the grantor's terms, which you are the grantor in the case of a trust, for the benefit of designated beneficiaries. Both wills and trusts have their advantages. A will is much simpler and less expensive, while a trust can help avoid probate and provide more control over asset distribution. Considering the cost, complexity, and your specific needs, all need to go into deciding which vehicle, the will or the trust, is most advantageous for your situation. So as we look at the cost, the typical cost for setting up a will range from some free online resources to about $1,000, while a trust can cost anywhere between $1,500 and $5,000 to set up. Wills are ideal for people with children who are minors and clarifying end-of-life wishes. Trusts also will accomplish that, but are also beneficial for the distribution of assets while alive, if dealing with a medical incapacitation, or reducing and avoiding taxes and avoiding probate. While wills can designate guardianship for minors and children, trusts do not include guardianship provisions. Of course, you could always incorporate a will into your trust to handle those situations. But then finally, wills are often much more simpler and affordable to set up, especially if you're just starting out. Trusts offer more control and flexibility, especially if you have specific wishes or want to avoid probate. No matter where you are in your journey, remember, God is with you in the planning. He gives wisdom generously to those who ask, James 1-5, and he delights in seeing his children walk in confidence and in preparation. A list of resources for online wills and setting up a trust will be available in the video description below. You don't have to take everything that we are sharing today and get it figured out today. Just be considering what that next faithful step might be for you. Moving on, let's explore some different options for saving for college, which would include qualified tuition plans, U.S. savings bonds, and tax credits. 4 qualified tuition plans, also known as 529 savings plans, these allow you to save for college expenses with certain tax advantages. U.S. savings bonds also can be used for college savings. Series EE and I bonds specifically offer tax benefits when used for qualified educational expenses. And while not a saving mechanism, there are tax credits that allow for another means of providing towards your child's future. So let's dive into one of the most powerful tools for preparing your children's future, a qualified tuition plan, the 529 savings plan. These plans allow you to save for college with some amazing benefits. For example, you can use up to $10,000 per year to repay student loans or cover qualified educational expenses. And the best part, you can start with as little as $25, but over time, you can contribute more than $400,000 per child. I mean, really, at any point, this is just a huge blessing for long-term planning. What makes these plans even more special is that the market growth potential and the fact that your contributions into the 529 savings plan grow tax-free when used for education. It's a beautiful example how wise stewardship can multiply what we've been given. Proverbs 13:22 says, "A good person leaves an inheritance for their children's children." This isn't just about money, it's about legacy, preparation, and faithfulness. So even if it feels like a small start, remember, God honors our faithfulness in the little things. Every dollar saved is a seed planted in the faith for your child's future. Another great option for saving is the U.S. savings bonds, particularly the EE and I series bonds, which are government-backed, low-risk investments that can be steady and secure, a way to grow your child's college savings. One of the biggest advantages is that when these bonds reach maturity, you can use them for qualified education expenses like college tuition, and you won't owe any federal income tax on the interest earned on those bonds. That's a huge blessing for families trying to stretch every dollar. Plus, there's no annual limit on how much you can redeem, and they come with a fixed coupon rate, which means that you'll know exactly what to expect in terms of the growth of these bonds. This is another great example of wise and patient stewardship. Ecclesiastes 11:2 says, "Invest in 7 ventures, yes, in 8. You do not know what disaster may come upon the land." In other words, diversifying your savings, including bonds and other tools like the 529 savings, can be a wise and godly approach to financial planning. So even if you're not ready to jump into the stock market or the 529 plan, savings bonds can be a safe and faithful first step towards your child's future. And while tax credits are not a typical college savings plan, they can often help offset the cost of higher education. So 2 key tax credits to be in consideration are the American Opportunity Tax Credit, or the AOTC, and the Lifetime Learning Tax Credit. The AOTC provides a credit of up to $2,500 per eligible student for the first 4 years of higher education, while the Lifetime Learning Tax Credit provides a credit of up to $2,000 per tax return year for qualified educational expenses. Another benefit to the Lifetime Learning Tax Credit is that there's no requirement that the student needs to be actively enrolled in higher education during the year. So, as we wrap up this section on college savings plans, I want to encourage you with this one truth. Preparing for your child's future is one of the most powerful acts of love and stewardship you can make. Whether you're looking into 529 plans, U.S. savings bonds, or education tax credit, each of these tools is a way to say, I believe in your future and I trust God to provide. And then Proverbs 22:6 reminds us to train up a child in the way that he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. That training does include spiritual guidance, but also practical preparation. So start where you are. Even small, consistent steps can lead to big blessings down the road. And remember, God is your provider. He sees your heart, your effort, and your desire to give your child or your children a strong foundation. Trust in Him to multiply what you commit to Him, all the while He will provide your daily needs. Next, we'll turn on to vacation planning, where we look to see really are vacations biblical. Also, we'll talk about a basic outline in creating and executing a vacation plan, and how to make your vacation budget go further by responsibly utilizing rewards and incentives that credit cards can offer us. So that first question, and we kind of alluded to it a little bit at the beginning, are vacations biblical? So Genesis 2:2-3 shows us that God rested on the 7th day, setting an example for us to follow. Mark 6:30-32 shows us that Jesus even encouraged his disciples to rest after their ministry work. So while the Bible doesn't specifically mention the word vacations, rest is a true gift from God. So when planning a vacation, it's really important to first set a budget. No one likes the idea of going to Disneyland, but then they cannot enjoy the ice cream and the other indulgences that the experience allows for. So choose an affordable destination, one that fits within that budget that you're creating, that doesn't extend beyond your means. Create a vacation plan ahead of time. Everybody loves spontaneity, but if you can plan a year or two in advance, a lot of the times your budget will go further. Some locations have deals that are better based on the time of year when you go, so it can help to be flexible when planning your vacation. Looking for deals like Groupon on excursions, or seeking local input and reviews on travel sites for the best days or times to go can be a great thing to do when looking to maximize budget dollars on vacation. Look at downloading apps for restaurants or places that you plan on going. Oftentimes, those restaurants will have a welcome gift or a free appetizer just for giving them your email address. Create an itinerary. Make sure that includes time for rest and relaxation. Remember, the goal of vacation is to enjoy the time with your loved ones, but also have space and time to recharge. And most importantly, enjoy the time that you have with your loved ones. So using credit card points and miles can definitely help offset the cost of vacation, but it's important to use them wisely and avoid overspending. One thing I would highly recommend, that if you have a history of misusing credit, it's best to avoid relying on credit card points for vacation planning at all. Most credit cards have a minimum spend to meet to actually receive their introductory offer of miles or cashback bonuses. So the best way for us to meet those minimums is to kind of shift our normal spending onto that new credit card for that introductory period, not to spend outside of our own means. We should refrain from our vacation budget, including that welcome offer of a new credit card, just to make the vacation work. Allow those welcome offers to contribute back to your day-to-day needs, or be that next starting point for the next vacation budget that you're planning. So, what things should you look for in a rewards credit card? Look for those introductory offers, cash back or point bonuses, transferable points, travel benefits that come with the card when choosing a rewards credit card. Once more, there are additional resources in the description of the video for utilizing credit card points and planning a memorable vacation. So I just really appreciate you for taking the time to sit through this video. Thank you so much for joining this Scene Financial Chat. I hope this time has been both practical and spiritually enriching for you. As single mothers, you carry a unique and beautiful responsibility. And while managing finances can feel overwhelming at times, remember this: you're not alone. God sees you, He walks with you, and He equips you with wisdom and strength for every season. Proverbs 3:5-6 reminds us to trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to Him, and He will make your paths straight. Whether you're planning for your children's future, stewarding your resources, or simply trying to make ends meet, God is faithful. If this message blessed you and you know others who might benefit, please don't hesitate to share. And if you have any questions or need prayer, drop a comment in the video below, and we'll reach out here at Woodmen. We would love to connect with you. So until next time, stay encouraged, stay faithful, and remember that you are seen, you are loved, and you are never alone. God bless.